So I've been in space for almost 9 years now. I'm currently the director of product management for Full Scale Ventures, where we build AI products, and we're building AI native products and lots of exciting things like coming in that avenue. Aside from that, I also like lead communities here in the Philippines. I have AI Filipino Cebu and like product practitioners. So I'm smack in the middle of AI and product. Like I'd say I was one of the early adopters in the space. I in 2022 I launched this product project that was launched that I just did. It was like the 100 A app project. I just like looked for 100 use cases in AI and just
Mhm.
like, you know what? Creating an AI app right now is so easy. How can we create like 100 of these to like solve X and Y problems? So like when I did that, it like forced me as a product leader, as a founder to like, okay, so this is how the technology works. And now I got like a feeling and an intuition with it. And now I can like continue building stuff. I'm building AI native products with AI. And
Yeah.
like this is something that I'm very passionate about. And like, yeah, happy to have a conversation.
I find it so interesting because I'm doing the same, and I think like a lot of us are, right? Like
Yes.
I feel like AI, the writing's on the wall, right? Like it's probably AI where it's at, right? And I find
Yes.
it so like it's kind of like Inception, right? Because I'm talking to AI and asking it to build me an AI product, and then I'm
100%.
preparing the prompts with AI, and the designs, like it's very inceptuous. And
Yes.
before I ask you more questions, can I ask you how technical you are? If you had to
Sure.
rank your technical knowledge from 1 to 5, 1 being not technical at all, 5 being a senior engineer.
Yeah. So if I were to apply to a junior level position, I would like suffer. Like
Yeah,
I might get in, but I would suffer.
yeah,
So my technicality is on like the high level understanding the concepts.
yeah,
So I'm gonna rate myself a bit lower on the scale of two. And like where three is
yeah,
where you actually like build stuff and like that's your day job. And like I'm just below that, and
yeah,
it just allows me to understand the technology and do solution architecture with it,
yeah,
but I still can't like code like an entire program front end and back end to save my life. So
yeah,
I'm in that like level right now,
yeah,
and it's changing a bit like really fast because the more that I use technologies like V0, Claude, the more I understand about like web technologies. And
yeah.
it's kind of crazy. Like I've been at like the like at the fence of like learning these technologies, never like build it on my own. I know JavaScript, I know Python, I can recognize it, but never like write it as like my day job.
Mhm.
But now that I'm building with V0, I'm building with Claude, I'm building with ChatGPT, I understand it more and more and more like as you keep building with it. And said that my technicality actually improved the more I build with AI. So like
Yeah,
that's like a very very weird and interesting thing to see. So
yeah,
I'm ranking myself 2 out of 5 in that regard for like because I know very amazing people that are highly technical. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I had the same, right? Like, actually, I was reading about CSS and then I was reading about Bootstrap and
Yeah.
Tailwind because all of a sudden I needed it to understand Lovable versus Replit, right? Like,
Yes.
all of a sudden it became relevant for me to understand which tool to use. And I had heard people say Tailwind a lot and it had no meaning to me whatsoever. And now it has a bit of meaning to me. There's luckily also a lot of articles I feel being produced right now
Yes.
to make this very accessible because there's a lot of demand for like non-technical people to
Yes.
kind of get like a high level understanding of these concepts so that we can use the tools better.
100% yes.
Yeah,
And I love that.
me too. Yeah, me too. And now I'd like to dive in, like because you said you tried like a bunch of use cases, and now
Yes.
for like you've tried a bunch, but for what you really do, right, in your day to day,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
what is the use case that you use the most? What do you do the
So
most with Gen
so
AI?
this has come from a need. Um like it's something that I'd say it's like the like if there's one thing you're gonna learn from me on this call, it's like how you can use like B0 and Claude.
V0 include. Okay.
'Cause I
Yeah.
really believe this is going to change how we work. Like as product leaders and like whether you're a founder or you're a product leader, I believe this is going to change how we work and how we communicate like our vision and like the needs of our users. And
And you
even down to prototyping. So that's like the high level overview.
Can you tell me the last or the coolest thing that
Sure,
you did with V0 and Claude? Can you show it to
sure.
me or like really talk me through it and also tell me because we talk a lot about like V0, Claude, da, da, but then behind it is like, okay, which model, which mode,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
tier,
yeah, yeah,
and why, right? This is where I'm
yeah,
also
yeah.
kind of learning why. So I'd love you to talk me through basically everything.
100%. Like, I'm not sure if I can share screen this, but I actually want to try it. Let me see if I can find it. And this is kind of crazy. I just shared like a video of this out in public, and I just want to show you what I've done so far. And the reason why I say that this is something that is changing the game, because again, I come from a corporate setting where like PRDs to communicate what we want to build and why is it important. But now this is something that I built over an hour, and we've seen a stronger case of this. Sorry, just
Yeah,
wanna like ask if you can see
I
like
can.
V0 like with like
Yeah,
Claude Gemini.
yeah.
Are you seeing the right screen?
Hmm.
Okay, great. So this is something we built like over like an hour, like just prototyping and like getting my ideas out there. Like this is like an idea for prompt labs. Like how can we help prompt engineers and like people who build AI products like build together. And
Okay.
um like so this is like the initial UI of it, and then like the second part where it becomes mind-boggling for me is this page over here. So
Wow.
it's now like a canvas that you can drag and drop. You see
Y-
animations with, and you see
And
like
this
the
you did
data
with
node shield.
V0?
This is with B0, yes.
Ah, wow.
And yeah, I'm actually planning to like post an event on this or like write like a guide for this.
Yes.
But just like look, there's definitely I can now just drag like okay, this is a prompt node. Let me just drag this in and let me see, drag this in here. Okay. And if I want to connect dots together over here
Wow.
and I want to somehow connect that to like the final output, and like so like bam, like for me as a product leader to see what I want to see like, right automatically here, that's mind-boggling for me. And the
And does
second part
this
of
do something? Does this workflow actually do something?
not yet. Like
Not
that's
yet.
the part that I'm trying to understand, like how do we bridge the two things together.
Right.
And where I am in this journey, it's more of understanding like the um understanding the what's good code and what's bad code, and how can I help my developers build this when we decide to build this. And that's like
Right.
the second part of like the product
So,
management challenges nowadays.
so is it fair to saying that you can use V0 and Claude very well to generate like a prototype, kind of like we used to draw ugly
100%.
mock-ups with balsamic, but now we replace them with
Yes.
something much more powerful, just as a way to communicate still with developers, because we still need developers to build the actual product fully.
Yes, and even pitching this to like users, like, hey, we're trying to build this, and like, can you play around with it? And
Yeah.
you're now like moving forward from like a product manager needs a developer and a designer, or even at least just like a designer. You mentioned balsamic to like have the prototypes and pitch this to users. Now
Yeah.
just talk to V0, build what you want to build, and like show that to
Yeah.
users. And now
Yeah.
you have this rapid prototyping process
Yeah.
that okay, you now like when you come to the developers now that we want to build this, you can now come with insights, with actual conversations. Like, you know what? This is what they said, and these are a couple of things you can change.
Yeah.
And the funniest part about it is when you're changing the prototype from conversation one to conversation three, you learn three key insights. You can change it right away without like
Sure.
having like a developer. So like your conversations would improve it better and better and better.
And speaking about that, because this is something where I've struggled, and I'm thinking
Yeah,
this is also why I want to have this conversation. Probably I'm doing it
yeah.
wrong because I've been
Okay.
quite okay at generating a first stab at something
Yeah, yeah,
with V0, or I've been using Replit or Lovable. Like there's something a good
yes.
first. It's kind of like AI is rolling the dice, and it
Yeah,
does
yeah,
something
yeah.
pretty cool. But then when I try to iterate on it, and I say, hey, you like sometimes it fully misses a requirement that I wrote
Yeah,
down. And I'm like, dude, you're AI. I
yeah,
spec
yeah,
that
yeah.
out. You didn't do
Fix
it.
it.
And then I point it
Yeah.
out. I'm like, you didn't do that thing. And then it breaks the whole thing somehow. Then
Yes.
it kind of it's really bad at iterating, I feel. So what I end
Yes.
up doing is I just rewrite the PRD, and then I just roll the dice again and again and again and again to get the first stab right.
Yeah.
Is that something you've encountered, or have you found a way to get it better at iterating?
Yes. So where I am with this, I want to share like the difference of like two tools. Again, this might be outdated a couple months down the road or even just next week. But like, Claude right now and artifacts, it's great for first stabs and like you know what, I just want one screen. I want to see what it could look like and like prototyping multiple like versions of this. But when you start to build like that level of detail, like what I have in V0, it starts to break because of like, the context and the code. And under the hood, this is what I was trying to say earlier. Let me just try to share my screen again. That button here. Under the hood, I had this one specific prompt to help like the AI iterate on.
Ooh,
Instead of like writing the code in like three three pages, like you know, it's just like this LLM comparison and it's like a workflow engineering and everything's in that page. That is what Claude is doing. Like you don't have to look at like the financial like oh, sorry like the at the character level here. I myself don't understand that at that level yet.
okay.
But like I want to like share here like this particular folder. Like I just asked it to like you know what? Instead of writing it in like the pages format, try to like rewrite everything into components.
Okay.
Now, when it did that, so I actually did two things. I shared it a library that I wanted to use.
But how do
So
you
use
know that?
React.
Because you're not
Yeah,
technical, so how do you know which
yeah.
library you wanted to use?
I picked up from conversations with my developer friends. Like,
And which
you know what? Like
library is
this
that?
new library. Like this
Which
is
is
React. Like
React. So you should tell
yeah,
it use a React library. Is that like kind of a hack?
I it does help, and I this is why I entered the conversation earlier. Right, like I did not know like I could use these things like in this way. Like I'm very surface level. If you ask me to code something in React Flow and in like React, so React is like the framework. React Flow is the library that I wanted to use. I couldn't do it on my own. But
Yeah.
now with AI, it's like okay, it's just enough to know what libraries will make it easier to do its job, and I'm just saying like okay, use React Flow for this because this is exactly what I want. And
App
like
Flow? What is it called? App Flow or React Flow?
React Flow,
React
React
Flow.
Flow.
So you just say,
Yes,
I
yes.
want you to use React and React Flow as a library, and then you
Yeah,
found that the thing is more robust. You can iterate more easily.
yeah. So that's the first thing because now we have a baseline. It's using that library and it's publicly available.
Yeah.
The second one is componentize the code. Don't just write in like one page summaries of it. Write it in components per I don't know like feature or like this is a data node, this is a generic node, and now it helps it iterate. So when I ask it to do stuff specific on the node, it doesn't rewrite the entire page, it writes that
Ah,
specific page only and that specific component only. And it V0, you can do this in V0, you can't do this yet in Claude. So that's like a core difference in the toolset. And you can definitely get away with exploring it in other platforms, but just with V0 and like Claude and V0, you understand like the dynamics of the tools and how you can use them.
yeah,
And then yeah, if you're gonna take anything from this call, it's those two things, like the difference
right.
between Claude and V0, and then ask it to componentize the code and like look for like libraries that you can pull in
Great.
into like you know what you can definitely write this from scratch. AI will do that, but I don't want you to like use a library out there that already has like the components of it, and
Yeah.
let's just modify the heck out of it.
Yeah.
And then now, to answer your question earlier, like you still will have that problem where it just breaks things and bloats things that it no longer can iterate on
Yeah.
it. I personally haven't hit that limit when I did it, like the componentize and like
Okay.
the giving it the library that I wanted to use. But I do know that it will hit that point later